I think Spart1e is going to be the underdog here, and we'll see what the Mayonnaise Man has in store for us, and if he can upset the world starting on the first map of the day between these two. Week 12 of Quake Pro League is live.
Starting it off, on the point of view of Spart1e, he's gonna get the LG and the Mega Spawn. Will be delaying that first major item pickup. I wonder if RAISY's aware of it. I think he is. At least now he knows for sure. Mega is still up and it's been delayed by 15 seconds. Spart1e has got to be careful, because if he gives RAISY too much room to work with right now, then RAISY is just going to capitalize off that delay that he introduced and string together both of the majors.
And that's something that we saw on Ruins. Again, the difference between defensive and passive and disappearing off the map. Spart1e has to make sure that he makes his presence known and doesn't let RAISY get out of control, as you mentioned before. So a bit of a skirmish here. Spart1e in an awkward position for this Mega. Is he going to make a move for it? Doesn't have any damage. There's the cutoff with the LG. Shotgun blast from RAISY goes through the telly, does Spart1e, and there's the totem. So not bad at all, as he's doing big damage right now, Flea.
Absolutely. Oh, he's gonna hear that teleporter too. He knows exactly where RAISY is. The Maestro man caught in a corner, but he has that railgun to work with, and that is the one weapon that Spart1e still lacks. He cannot engage in those long distance fights, and that will buy RAISY some time, some opportunity to get out alive. Now Spart1e will be the one to secure the heavy, is in position for Mega as well. RAISY's going to peek, knowing very well that Spart1e still doesn't have the rail, and that is what is allowing RAISY to keep this so competitive.
Totem down for Spart1e. He's going to take the peek, and just like that, the slimmest of margins, RAISY waiting with the rail. There's a little bit of rocket jump, and also another rail tri-bolt from Spart1e as he's trying to maintain this high ground.
We've kind of fallen into a pattern here. Spart1e securing Mega time and time again, and RAISY doing his best to cut off access to the railgun as much as he can. And now it looks like RAISY will just sit up on heavy. Still 15 seconds between the items. So whoever gets the upper hand, whoever gets that first key frag, should be able to get full control of the items.
Oh, RAISY has to be careful. Corridor of plasma nails right now. Spart1e, good LG as well. Bit of a trap here, and RAISY reeling, tries to hit a fadeaway, and he might get chased down here, Flea. Fighting for his life. Pineapple's rails isn't going to be enough. Through the doorway, he gets past the Pineapple. RAISY's hanging on by a thread, and he gets tickled right before the Mega. Spart1e's on the board first.
RAISY died with the railgun in hand. He just gave Spart1e the weapon. Now Spart1e doesn't even have to go down there. And there we go. I didn't know if RAISY was aware that he gave that up for free, but he's definitely gonna feel the sting of that shot. That's of course the benefit of spawning as a heavy champion 40. Look at the stack that RAISY has to work with. Even without securing a single major item, he can take a rail and still outstack his opponents.
Just enough tri-bolt damage to get the information, but like you said, Spart1e's in such a bad way here, as RAISY can just bully his way onto the items with that starting stack. Needs to be careful. Fortunate to get away with that one and get in on both majors, and the tides have turned, and Spart1e hanging on by a thread. He can't do it. The rail comes out. RAISY ties it at 1.
That was a bad rail to miss from Spart1e. Easy shot as well, just as RAISY was jumping across, and he's paying the price for it. That is going to be 2 quick frags in succession for Maestro. At least Spart1e did manage to balance things out a bit, landing some good shots of his own, rocket jumping up towards the heavy. Doesn't get much use out of it, but at least denies access to RAISY, who's eating some painful rockets. This is looking good for Spart1e. He can pounce.
Just some warning shots there as RAISY's able to grab the scraps, get his stack back up to somewhat decent here, as the heavy's going to be the next item, and RAISY trying to position well for it. Going to the high ground, seeing Spart1e drop down. He should know the timing. He's actually going to see it now and get good damage with the LG and the rail. So well done from RAISY, and he should be able to get a clean Mega off the back of that damage.
Do not die yet.
Spart1e, he's just waiting for that small armor, hence the self-damage didn't really pan out the way he wanted it to. Has to make a run for it with 7 points of health. Now RAISY, of course, playing Keel. He is slow. He's got 0 mobility to work with, and luckily for Spart1e, he's got a few of those totems stacked around the map. We'll put him back at 100 points of health. But armor, that's what he needs. And he's given RAISY full control. Heavy went his way. He's leaving up Mega because he wants to inflict some pain.
Death is the only release. I will not grant you that privilege.
And Spart1e got out of that pretty well in the end. Nice rocket too. Ah, too bad that the pillar was right in his view. That could have been a huge LG. Yeah, that was bad.
Steal the heavy flea, that rail. What a shot by RAISY here, so he's going to be able to make another shot through the grate, and that one's a layup. That is unfortunate for Spart1e there. A little bit of bad luck and just really, really nice shots from RAISY, and he is extending the lead, grabbing the items, and this is danger territory right now, Flea.
It sure is. We've passed the halfway mark of this map. RAISY currently commanding a 3-point lead. And Spart1e has to find a way to break that control. That's definitely going to help a lot. 190 damage off the bat. Oh, he's got to figure it out. He knows that RAISY's going for the telly. Nice rail again. Spart1e, can he continue to apply pressure? He knows where RAISY is, but this is so risky. He's going to drop down. Rockets have to be good. They are, but the LG results in a trade. Now it's a race for the Mega. RAISY will get there first, I think. Indeed, and Spart1e back to the drawing board, even getting fragged as he goes through the telly. That was a huge opportunity. Squandered in the end.
Yeah, really nice shots, but the trade comes out as RAISY's LG. I mean, it's always a terrible idea to drop onto LG, but RAISY specifically, as he has floated players literally out of the league before. A little bit of rocket damage, nice rail as he goes through, but it doesn't matter! Oh no, it's Spart1e! You hit him with the okay in chat, Flea, and that means it's not okay when they type that.
No, that means the opposite of things are okay. It's no okay, he says. Oh, Spart1e. That is tragic. Heavy is up. Should be aware of this. Yeah, he definitely spotted it out of the corner of his eye now. But right now it's not stack that he lacks. It's time for the 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and RAISY 5 points ahead. Now keep in mind, RAISY also has that default stack advantage of the respawn, so even if Spart1e starts stringing together a few of those kills, he's got a lot of work cut out for him.
Yeah, definitely an uphill battle from Spart1e here. No better place than here, no better time than now, as he has to rage against the machine that is RAISY on this keel. There's the rocket jump into a rail combo again. The two-piece, the rocket from above, the LG actually keeping him at bay. There's the rocket jump up. A little bit of misdirection, but that could cost him. No rockets for RAISY, but the LG is enough.
I think that might spell the end here. 40, I think that could just be the GG.
Oh, no. Oh. Yep, that looks like it.
Yeah, this isn't defrag. You do take self-damage from those rockets, so you gotta mind where you're pointing that thing. But this will seal the deal. RAISY will be able to secure map 1. Spart1e kept it close for the first 3 or 4 minutes. But ultimately, tiny little slip up at the wrong time. I think, 40 looking back at this matchup, if he had landed at one rail when he was moving from rockets into the Mega Room and RAISY just kind of jumped across in a straight line, if Spart1e had landed that shot, this would have been a different game. At least it would have stayed different for another few minutes or so. But now, RAISY will be taking this one convincingly so. And I think Spart1e's got to already start thinking about map 2.
Absolutely. And yeah, unfortunate there for Spart1e. He did keep it close, and then a couple things go wrong. You miss one defensive rail, it snowballs into 2 or 3 frags for your opponent, especially someone as good as RAISY on keel on a map like Vale. Also, the telefrag, just heartbreaking. There's another shotgun blast from RAISY, so he's going to take this one. The scoreboard's a bit of a lie, much like the cake, but... Oh, the pineapples is not stopping, please.
We were talking about how much our Maestro boys love him. And indeed, RAISY sure is serving them up today. And as this map is grinding to a close, can already take a moment to talk about map 2, which
sustains
will be
you.
Ruins of Sarnath. Spart1e will be playing Strog, and RAISY is going to counter with the Storlek. And now we did say, or at least I said, I don't want to be speaking for you here, 40, but I did say that I think that if Spart1e is going to win any match in this lineup, it will be Ruins.
Well, he's going to need to step it up just a little bit. So the chance is always there. Any map, any given Saturday, of course, in the Quake Pro League. But RAISY seems to be on point, even though he had a bit of a slow start, and Spart1e was able to kind of keep him at bay. Eventually, RAISY broke through that defense and made it look easy. A little bit of frustrations coming out from Spart1e as well as we take a look at the highlights from map number 1, as it's in the bag for RAISY. But yeah, Ruins, completely different style of map. It's going to be Strog versus Sorlag, so speedy. RAISY gets a little bit of the thick sorbet action that we didn't get to see at all last week, so I'm interested to see how he plays that. But Spart1e, yeah, in the hole already, down by 1 map, has to win 2 in a row to try and take this. So, and I still believe Flea, because I'm a fan of Chaos.
I mean, hope still isn't gone yet, right? 2 more maps to go. Spart1e, he can very well turn this around. Will he, though? That's a different question altogether, because we know that Spart1e is one of those players who... I mean, of course, he's a tried and tested Quake veteran, so he will be able to put most of this behind him going into map 2, but we know that he's a bit of an emotional player, and that absolutely isn't a bad word to use when it comes to Quake, because it can also drive you to the highest of highs. But when things aren't going as well as they should, and you feel like there's some situation that should have turned out differently and ended up in your favor, it can kind of weigh them down, right? And we saw that towards the end. The frustration, as you mentioned, that Spart1e just kind of rocket jumping himself to death there. I really do hope that he can put that behind him, moving into map 2, and that he can just reset, right? Completely different map, like you said, 40, completely different champions, very distinct play styles. It's going to be a lot faster, or at least the movement will be, because we know that even with fast champions, you can slow it down to a crawl. So let's see how Spart1e approaches this.
Yeah, I completely agree. For those watching at home that may be newer players, don't try those rocket jumps at home. Spart1e is a trained professional. He knows what he's doing, but that is not an optimal play. So 13-0 is going to be the first map in the bag for RAISY as he's working on a clean 2-0. But as we get into Ruins here and the players ready up, again, I can't help but feel like last week, Spart1e versus Kilson, we saw him just absolutely go completely disappear off the map. Not even defensive. I would say, like ZSX said last week, passive. Didn't show up for any of the items, really gave Kilson away back into the map. If Spart1e plays a little more aggressive on the items, just enough to at least keep timings and do damage, I feel like his Ruins play is pretty good. Like you said, you feel like this is going to be the map that he will take if he ends up taking one in his set. But I don't think he could withdraw into like a shell of himself, especially against RAISY. You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile, especially with that sorbet. So I'd really like to see Spart1e be a little bit more assertive on some of these majors.
Absolutely. Now, I know that some people in chat are probably wondering, we did have a technical issue with Spart1e, his webcam, trying to figure that out right now, and then we'll jump right back into map 2. Now, map 3, 40, because we can maybe already touch upon that. Deep Embrace will be the final one in this series. And looking at the champion picks, I also think that Spart1e really isn't looking too bad on that map either, right? Doomslayer can be very powerful. Ranger, of course, he's got that burst damage potential with the orb, plus is able to relocate over longer distances more easily. But Doom is a very solid pick too, no?
I love the double jump. I don't like the utility that the ability, the active, gives. I mean, the Berserk nowadays is just used for mostly getting around the map and escaping. Maybe off the spawn, he could do some shenanigans to try and get both majors, but I feel like RAISY wins the utility battle with the ability. And we have seen him just take dire orbs that should not be taken and make magic happen. So I do fear for Spart1e in that regard. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the Doomslayer's a solid pick on Deep Embrace. But it's just RAISY, man, especially in these sets as he starts to warm up more and more. By map number 3, he's hitting like 70% rail, gauntlets coming out. If you see RAISY comfortable in the arena, run away, because that is a dangerous RAISY that you do not want to mess with.
Oh yeah, I mean, we even saw it when he was playing Vanguard last week on that final map, right? Awoken, when he was really getting into the swing of things. The Gauntlet came out as well, even though he had lost the previous 2 maps. So RAISY can really start to feel positive and get into the groove of things, even after, suffering a defeat on the previous map. Not that this matters at this stage of this matchup, because RAISY had a convincing 13-0 win over Spart1e. But let's see how map 2 is going to turn out.
Yeah, and still working through a little bit of technical stuff. Chat, so hang in there. Spart1e versus RAISY map number 2 will be live shortly. As you mentioned before, Spart1e's webcam frozen in time. A piece of art, really. It looked like he was just doing an Excel spreadsheet while playing Quake. But no, he was much more lively than that, I'm sure, much more frustrated. And we want to capture all of those gritty details here at Quake Pro League. So we're just waiting on that to get sorted, and then we will get into map number 2. Apologies, you could blame it all on me.
God damn it, 40. Every
time. I can't help it.
Yeah, man. Okay, but it looks like we might be ready to go, regardless of the webcam might be delaying it until game 3. So just stay with us for a moment longer. Won't have to delay much longer after this one, as map 2 is coming right up. Ruins of Sarnath, Strog versus Sorleg. So 2 speedy champions, a lot of mobility, right? Sorleg, of course, has the higher base stack, and we've seen RAISY make very good use of that in map 1 as well, right? There were several situations where Spart1e did get a frag, but then RAISY was able to leverage that additional armor that he spawns with to immediately challenge for example, the Mega or the Heavy, land some rails of spawn. And yeah, Spart1e was kind of struggling with that. So let's see how that pans out in this map, where we're again dealing with the same medium versus heavy imbalance.
And let's not forget that Spart1e can be the king of the rail sometimes. I know that Kilson has that title firmly, but if Spart1e does pop off, especially against the Sorlag, this is where you want to hit 60-70% rail to really open up the game for yourself and make sure that you're chipping away at that starting stack before it gets too out of control. What Spart1e we're going to get, anybody knows. It could be a party and it could just be atrocious, but we'll see. This is map number 2. Map number 1 is gone and done. It's out of his mind and it's a reset. So we will see how he approaches this. Especially, I want to see what spawn he gets. That could play into it a little bit. But we are going to get into it here shortly, chat. Thanks for hanging in there. Sorry I ruined everything, but I mean, that's kind of what I do. It's almost what I'm here for, Flea, unfortunately.
Well, you do say some accurate things sometimes, 40. Like just now, you know, your comment about the spawns. We saw how important that was on the previous map, right? Because the main reason that Spart1e wasn't able to kind of steamroll RAISY at the start was because he didn't get the railgun spawn. And RAISY did an excellent job at denying that critical weapon. So let us see what's going to happen in map 2. We're loading in right now. Spart1e versus RAISY, kicking it off once again on Spart1e's point of view.
He's still doing the Excel spreadsheet, but that's fine, as he does get the heavy. He's got the rail and the LG, and that's really all he wants, and now he just wants to play a little bit of defense, Flea. He doesn't want to give up this weapon too easily. Maybe might wait out for a trade to get rockets, but there it is so fast, and good punish there. But again, with the Sorlag, it's not even that much of a punish, given her stack.
Yeah, that's the benefit of the air control, plus the high starting stack. You know, Spart1e was sitting up there nicely, setting up a bit of an ambush, but then RAISY, so quick. Perhaps a bit too quick for his own good this time around, though. Gets away with around 30 points of health. Spart1e has to retreat after taking a bit of acid as well. Oh no, he's too close for rail, but no, somehow! Spart1e, caught with the wrong weapon in hand, sets it right regardless. That was beautiful.
He doesn't care at all, and neither does RAISY. He's mad. He knows that that shouldn't have been a frag, and he takes that one back, forces it back to 1-1. But yeah, Spart1e popping off with that peeker up-close rail play. And sometimes you got a little craziness that you got to get out of your system, Flea, and that's what we're seeing there. Is that rail is going to open this up, but the Mega's taken as RAISY's too fast, and the nail gun up close. Spart1e melts him 2-1. Looks like we have a bit of a fist fight on our hands here.
Said it yourself, 40. Spart1e's affinity with the rail, second to none when he really gets into the swing of things. Good read as well. Nice drop down with the machine gun in hand. Gotta be careful that he doesn't run into RAISY off spawn, and that's exactly what does happen. And RAISY even gets the heavy as his prize. Now it's a race for the Mega. That's a pretty sick peeker usage. RAISY's gonna drop down once again. Spart1e's just flying around the map, utter disregard for his own safety.
Doesn't care. He just doesn't care, Flea. Spart1e, huge peeker plays, huge Swedish meatballs. He's still up by 1, but RAISY's looking to tie it. The equalizer, there's a gauntlet, a little bit of his own medicine. Can the machine gun melt him? And he does! 25 HP. Whew. He's got to be very careful, though. So weak off of that spawn. But the Mega's up. He's going to grab one more bubble and maximize this Mega pickup. And Spart1e is looking pretty good. LG here should melt him as RAISY can't land the shots.
This is excellent for the Swedish man. Okay, he's gonna have to destroy the peaker. Oh no, a little bit of disorientation right here coming out of the animation. Completely lost track of where he was.
Oh, the rail from RAISY.
This does worry me a little bit, 40, because so far a lot of Spart1e's game plan seems to depend on landing those critical rails. And the moment that he stops connecting with these difficult shots, I think he may be in trouble. So I do hope that he has a contingency plan, that he can get the level of control, level of stability on the map that allows him to just run with the items and dominate RAISY in other ways than to hope that those shots connect.
Some mid-game adaptation might have to happen here as we're only 3:30 into this. Spart1e again with the peeker play. RAISY can't seem to land the shots and pretty decent damage, but Spart1e cannot follow up off of that. It's just too risky. And with the Mega right there, rather take that. And somehow, what an angle from RAISY. Oh my lord.
Hot damn, Spart1e was not ready for that, and now he's got nothing to work with other than the Tri-Bolt. That's of course the risk of flying fast around the map. You can find yourself turning a corner with nothing to fight with and RAISY just staring you down. Heavy is up. Does Spart1e know? Does he have the item timing? Good rail. Should be able to secure this as well. Yeah, this is a good way for Spart1e to stabilize, but he's got to get that unreturned damage. Can't be eating these rails for breakfast.
Looks like he's chomping him down here as they're going tit for tat here. Spart1e gets planted, just a little too obvious there. RAISY taking the high ground, making that one look easy as he extends the lead by 2, but Spart1e spawns back in. Mega's going to be first. He's way too early on this heavy. RAISY knows it. There it is, the spit, the rail, and the rocket to plant him. Now, does he get the spawn to maybe beat him back to Mega? That's the only silver lining. There's the rocket jump up, the body block, and it pays off.
I was waiting with bated breath for it when I saw Spart1e set up for heavy 10 seconds too early. And he pays the price for it too. Still, RAISY took a fair bit of damage in that exchange. That is what allowed Spart1e to immediately challenge him off the spawn, secure Mega for himself. Now heavy up in just a few seconds. That will be going to RAISY. That Lizard looking mighty stacked right now. But Spart1e's got the high ground. Those are some good rockets. Can he find more damage? He needs it. Mega has already been taken. The spit is out of play. There we go. To the knee, that was. RAISY dropping a frag. Keep in mind, 40, we're only 5.5 minutes into this one. Spart1e has all the time he needs to make a comeback happen.
He's working on it right now as another shot. Tickling the talon with that railgun, and he's going for the glory, but he misses, and RAISY punishes with a machine gun. Spart1e, high risk, but the reward wasn't there, but he is going to spawn in, and just barely misses that rail and survives to steal the heavy, and RAISY's in a bad way right now. Struggling, but he's going to get the Mega because he's so fast.
Spart1e feels like he's more consistent landing the difficult shots than he is connecting with the easier ones. That definitely did feel like a shot that he should have landed. RAISY was railable there too, so that should have given him a frag. Still, Spart1e, RAISY, both looking pretty healthy, heavy. Goes to the Maestro player. Spart1e will content himself with Mega.
And I know that Sorbet is nice and thick, but Spart1e's hitting 64% LG.
Whew.
That is real nice here. As there it is, the LG again, caught in a corner. RAISY in a bad way. He'll go down rather cleanly for Spart1e here. Can he do some damage off of this? He's going to miss position and give up the heavy, though, Flea.
Yeah. Yeah, he was going for the center, the top center spot to deter RAISY. But then I think he saw that small armor being up, got perhaps a little too greedy making a move on it, and allowed RAISY to slip right underneath him onto the heavy. Oh no, Spart1e now once again caught out of position. 1 point of health is all he's got to work with. Looks like RAISY is not interested in chasing though. He knows he's got a lead, and he's just going to prioritize keeping control of the items for now. Clever. Oh, 1 second to go.
Oh, no.
1 second.
And look at that delay. Spart1e just doesn't have anything to work with. Playing super passive, and somehow it works! Spart1e hits him with the CS, and RAISY flying around the map. So can Spart1e capitalize off that gift? He can at least get a railgun, but that's all he has. As he doubles back, should be able to pick up the LG. More importantly, does he have timing on this Mega so he can try and do some damage and show up? 2 minutes down by 3, Flea.
I think Spart1e first wants some more armor to work with, but RAISY isn't going to give him the opportunity. We'll shut that down instantly. And now, once again, 40. How often have we seen this with Spart1e? It all starts falling apart in those final few minutes. It was such a good game. He will be able to secure the heavy. Maybe some miracle rails could make something happen here. Won't connect with enough. And it's RAISY who gets the better high ground position first. But still railable. He should still perish if one of those shots connects. Spart1e, can he find the angle? No, misses once, twice. Finally, the third one will connect. A minute for 3 frags. Can he do it?
Needed to drop to re-up on the rails as he ran out. He's just riding the rail to victory. This is looks like all in from Spart1e here. There's the LG pushing RAISY back as he's giving him an opportunity. That rail connecting was fantastic. There's the tickle. But the heavy was stolen, so Spart1e still looking for armor as he only has a shred left. 2 frags down, less than a minute left, and RAISY hits him with a little bit of CS of his own, and just that machine gun damage alone is going to be a huge deal for Spart1e as he does get the Mega for free, and RAISY's just going to play defensive now. He doesn't have to do anything for 40 seconds! No!
Just not enough.
And
Good
I feel like
fighting by Spart1e there, though. RAISY was absolutely not expecting him to be there, and it's still not over. 2 frags, 20 seconds, back-to-back. It should be possible, but RAISY's got a lot of stack to work with. And of course, he is fast, he is nimble. Spart1e, can he find him? Time is running out. He needs to get RAISY in the next second or 2. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Maestro RAISY will be taking map 2 as well. Spart1e calling the GG. Close! Close! RAISY.
very, very close.
Yeah, RAISY gets the upper hand, but map 1, it was close for the first 4 minutes. Map 2, it was close for the first, 7 minutes? But ultimately, I mean, it's still close at the end, right? 12-14, that could have gone in either player's favor, but RAISY just a little more consistent towards the end. And Spart1e, he did hit 64% LG, like you said yourself. I think a little bit lower in the end now, but still, remarkable accuracy. Just fell a little short of the rail at times, even though that really was the weapon that kept him in the game at the start. But then some of the easier shots of the match just went unconnected.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of how Dramas plays. Live and die by the rail, up close and personal. If you hit, it looks great. If you don't, it's heartbreaking because you're so close. You're hitting some shots that are absolutely insane, but the defensive ones where they're coming straight at you, you just get a little too nervous, you flick, something goes wrong, and I do think that, similar to map number 1, came down to 2 or 3 defensive rails that Spart1e just missed and allowed RAISY to get in, and that could have changed the ball game. But there, we take a look at the stats, 14-12. RAISY's going to take the set in 2, but this one was a lot closer. Warming up maybe for the 3rd map, maybe Spart1e gets in on it and does do a 2-1, but yeah, the rail was the name of the game here for Spart1e, as we kind of touched upon, and unfortunately for him, it came up just a little bit short on both maps.
62% LG accuracy at the end, though. And it's not as if he only fired it a handful of times on RAISY going up the bounce pad. No, this was consistent from start to finish. 1,500 points of damage. His mostly used weapon for that entire map, and still hitting that much. Now, of course, you said it yourself, right? Sorlex, she is thick, but that doesn't mean much with that speed and that dodge ability. So Spart1e, his aim is definitely looking good. And we briefly touched upon this earlier, 40. Doomslayer map 3 on Deep Embrace, not a bad choice at all, right? We both thought that this map was his best shot at securing at least 1 point during the series, but still, map 3 could absolutely go his way as well.
It's a couple more rails. It's a different ballgame, so we'll see. If he can connect with some of those, I think the way he's playing, he might be able to steal this map off RAISY. RAISY, a little bit of a sigh of relief for getting the 2-1, having this series done and dusted, but always want to try and go 3-0. Every map is money in their pocket, especially, again, as we say time and time again, getting closer and closer to the finals. You just want the best position in those playoff brackets. So RAISY, nothing but 3-0 on his mind. Spart1e is just like, please, can I just get a map?
Yeah. There's just, you know, a few rough edges here and there, right? A lot of Spart1e's game is so good, 40, but then if we were to just review every single fight of that previous map, there's just a few where you can see him make the wrong choice, right? He shows up 10 seconds early for heavy. He catches glimpse of the small armor being up and he's like, oh, I want that, and he makes a move for it, and then at the same time RAISY is just like, okay, well, I'll tunnel right underneath you, get myself a railgun, get myself a heavy, and now I'm in a really good spot myself. So a few of these micro decisions, and it all adds up over time, and that's, I think, one of the things that kind of separate, you know, the absolute top, right, the 5 best players in the league from the rest. It's just the consistency when it comes to those small mistakes that they've managed to iron out of their game.
I agree completely, but I do love when he does something that he's not supposed to do and it works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, a close-up peeker play into a rail on Mega. Why not? Sure. Add a little chaos. So, yeah, shouts to Spart1e being crazy. We love it. It's always a party. But can he get a map on the board in this series? If you're a Spart1e fan, you know, hope you can. Everyone hopes that he can string together some of those rails and hit some of those defensive shots that he's been missing that may have turned the tide in his favor. They are working through some things. I think Spart1e has a little bit of emotions he's working on right now before we get into map number 3, but we're going to go live here shortly on Deep Embrace, as you mentioned, Doom versus Ranger. And we'll see if Spart1e has what it takes to try and steal at least one map off the Maestro man that is RAISY.
Let's see. I hope that he can just keep, you know, that momentum going, because that, I think, and I feel like I've been saying this for 3 seasons right now. This kind of summarizes Spart1e, right? He comes out of the gate swinging so fast, so consistent, gets good control, gets a frag lead over his opponent, but then second half of the game, it starts to fizzle. He starts to run out of steam, right? The mistakes start piling up on one another. He's missing costly shots, and before you know it, he ends just a few frags behind his opponent, and that is just tragic to see, because you know that if he could just keep that going, he could be an absolute top contender within the Quake Pro League.
Completely agree. It's not about how you start, it's about if you can finish, Flea. I've always said that, and we're going to finish off the series right here on map number 3. Spart1e versus RAISY is live, and we're starting off on Spart1e once again. Does he have a little bit left in the tank to try and go this next 10 minutes? And that is a huge rocket to start.
Nice amounts of tribal damage there as well. Spart1e claps back, hit the rail, LG comes out, RAISY kind of putting himself too far out there. Overstayed his welcome, even jumped into the fray. Figured he would get an easy frag with the LG, but no, the heavy machine gun from Spart1e was strong. And now again 40, Spart1e gets the first frag. He had that lead, and it's all tied up 1-1. But he's in a good position to take Mega. Problem is, he doesn't have weapons to work with, and RAISY does. This is risky for both players. RAISY gets the most of it. A nice little rail. Headshot, pretty much.
Oh my god, what a read! That was gorgeous from RAISY. Willing to burn the Dire Orb for that, totally worth it as he adds a little bit to the lead here. Ooh, good rail though from Spart1e on the double back before the heavy pickup. Opportunity here, but I don't think he's going to be able to do damage on the Mega. Just a little bit late. Still an opportunity as the rocket goes flying above RAISY's head. Nice follow-up rocket. Can he do it though? Can he finish it? He does. Spart1e. RAISY made him work for that one a little bit here. Great rail off the spawn. This is going to give Spart1e a big opportunity now.
That was juicy, but oh my god, RAISY showing he can deliver some rockets of his own. Now heavy is up, messes up the orb through the grating, but that rail, that was messed up, but in a completely different way. RAISY, he's just stringing together the rails, but Spart1e ends up being the one who gets the frag and the Mega to boot. Both players pretty low. Rockets will reign supreme, and RAISY ties it up. This is another brawl We're continuing the same trends that we started on Ruins.
How many hundreds? How many hundreds are these players going to hit in this map?
This is ridiculous. Not sure what happened to Spart1e's shotgun right there, though. It looked like he was just firing blanks towards the end. Oh, Mega is up, but RAISY, he knows he's out of position. Can't get onto it on time. He's got plenty of other resources to work with. Those two health bubbles, the small armors, going to put him in fighting shape. And Spart1e doesn't have railgun yet, so this is so risky for him to take this engagement. Out comes the orb. RAISY, it's a fakie. But Heavy does go in favor of the Swede. But he's lacking the weapons, 40. A recurring theme. RAISY is managing to survive because he has the better weaponry.
Oh my god, on the rail off the spawn, you're absolutely right. I mean, Spart1e just doesn't even have the time to get weapons. He's trying to fight for these majors without anything in hand, and RAISY has all of the weapons at his disposal. He's got the positioning, he's got the hundreds and hundreds of rockets. A little bit of a flick rail will miss though, but he has all the items, and again, more rocket damage coming out. Spart1e's just been stuck on this side of the map. Can he escape it? No! He's gonna back up into the shotgun, but somehow does enough damage to almost get the frag, and finally the pellets from RAISY will take him down, but that was incredible damage from that position for Spart1e.
Absolutely. I love how RAISY committed to the shotgun, though. He was like, I've started this with the shotgun, and I'm gonna see it through with this weapon as well. Double rocket jump to make his way onto the Heavy. Now, I think that the Brawl strategy is kind of starting to fail Spart1e. The deficit in frags has grown larger. He's 4 kills behind now. And that just had a lot to do with the arsenal that RAISY had. Spart1e would spawn, he would be aggressive, do a good amount of damage, but RAISY just had the better weaponry for every situation. And Spart1e couldn't compete with that.
Oh my god, stop it!
Another direct 40! We need a tally of how many directs these players are hitting on this map.
It's close to 15 at least. Dire Orb into the heavens here, just mistiming it, and RAISY's gonna miss out on the Heavy. Spart1e on the chase, decent rocket damage, 77 HP. The rail will do it, but the armor shard keeps him alive for a little bit longer. Good rocket. Spart1e just wants to fight, but instead he's going to eat rockets. Serves up a little bit of his own and somehow dodges that one. The rail on rail. RAISY will survive by the skin of his teeth. 10 HP before this Mega. And this is high-flying action. This is exactly what we want out of a Deep Embrace game, hopefully.
Absolutely. It looks like RAISY is making more out of it than his opponent. Oh, you can take a swim, he says. Out of the map you go. Perfectly lined up, LG into the rail. This is looking dire for Spart1e. Oh, the orb, range orb, does it again, RAISY. If that rocket would have hit 40, I would have lost it. If one of those two would have connected, that would have been too much.
Spike your computer into the ground and get it over with, because that would have been absolutely demoralizing. This is already brutalizing for Spart1e here as he's down by 8. And RAISY just catches him out. Just hanging out, trying to slow the tempo down, and he can't do it. And he's right back into the fray. And there's a Dire Orb for his troubles.
Halfway through the map, a little more than that. Nice. Spart1e's LG was looking good there. RAISY couldn't quite track him as well as he would like. But can he convert into something more? Not of this frag, he won't. RAISY still commanding a 10-point lead. Spart1e should be able to take Heavy, but what is he gonna do with it next? RAISY doesn't have a rail though, and that should help Spart1e out quite nicely at this stage.
Dire Orb here, but that should be it for RAISY, and it is a Spart1e. Good rockets there to catch him out. But Flea, what's the biggest deficit we've ever seen overcome in the Quake Pro League? If it happens, this is going to be the one, right?
It could very well be. Yeah. We've seen 8 frag deficits. I can think of 9 frag as well, but can't think of anything more. So if Spart1e brings this back after being 10 points down, that would be monumental for it. So I am hoping that we get to see some of that.
Nice rail, a little bit of tri-bolt reply from RAISY here, but all in all comfortable. Big lead. I think he has timing on this heavy, even though he's very early. He's just going to do some cheeky stuff, and there's the rail dire orb combo. Only gets one rail on the way down. Spart1e melts him with the LG. But I do like RAISY just, you know, doing RAISY things. He's not afraid. He's still very comfortable in the lead, willing to take some risks.
Oh, no. Hang on.
Wow.
Now he's 1 HP. Rail is not the right weapon
Oh.
to switch to. I guess that Spart1e wasn't aware of just how low RAISY was after that fight. Anything would have taken him down. He could have just blown on him, and that would have finished the fight. No, the rail, and he missed it. RAISY's still railable, but all he has to do now is buy some time, and he may not be railable anymore, but that rocket to the face, that'll take him down just the same. Spart1e has to kick this into the highest of gears if he wants to have any chance of bringing this one back.
Just the rails are not connecting the way that he needs right now. So much LG, and Spart1e waves goodbye to the chat, and RAISY joins him. And yeah, cue the Benny Hill music, because we got a bit of a show here. Hopefully 7 frags down, and you can just tell frustration from Spart1e on that one, just dead to rights. Nothing he could do, and now the machine gun up close as the shotgun doesn't come through the way that Spart1e would like. This is just going to be the RAISY show for about the next minute and a half.
Spart1e just, you know, he surrendered to the inevitable there. He know. Oh, God, these orbs. I hope Dewey's watching, because, you know, he would appreciate these kinds of dire orbs. Beautifully placed, perfectly timed, and the execution. Chef's kiss, and that is, of course, what we can expect from RAISY. He is the complete package after all. The aim, the style, the unpredictability. Gotta love him.
Absolutely, as again, Spart1e's a little bit too early on the Mega, and it's going to be just another round of punishment here. The LG will run out, but the rocket's coming through at the last moment. 9 points of health. But Spart1e just can't get the damage he needs. 20-9 and still 50 seconds left. Could somebody throw in the towel, please? Make it stop. This man has a family.
6,200 points of damage for RAISY. Make it 6,350. Not something you see every day. That's a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. Sent Spart1e's way. But ultimately, RAISY was just the stronger one of the two today. Solid effort by Spart1e, I would say. Definitely put up one hell of a fight. Made it dangerously close on several of the maps, at least for the first part, and map 2 was specifically and particularly close. 2 frag difference at the very end, so RAISY, he had to work for it, but he kept calm, he kept cool, stayed collected, and secured himself a deserved 3-0. So congratulations RAISY, congratulations Team Maestro, they will be securing themselves yet another win.
Yep, it happened kind of the way that you said, Flea. I mean, Ruins was the closest game for Spart1e. His best opportunity just came up short, and map number 3 and 1 were just blowouts for RAISY. Close on the first map for a while, but then we saw the one missed rail. It all went catastrophic from there, and then, as we saw last week, map number 3 was just RAISY taking out some aggression, it almost seems like. So, shouts to RAISY, big 3-0 for him. Shouts to Spart1e for hanging in there and doing his best. But, I mean, against a red-hot RAISY, it's going to be tough.
I just love seeing that RAISY flair, you know, like how many players for the setup with a gauntlet into an orb combo. RAISY was just waiting around the corner, right there, gauntlet and the orb. It didn't pan out that time, but how many players actually go for something like that? Like, you gotta love it.
Oh, it's fantastic to see. Again, a comfortable RAISY is a terrifying RAISY to see, and there we go. We see the wave goodbye again, and look at that. He's a gentleman, too. He's like, I will follow you into the dark, because we are friends. But yes, fantastic performance from RAISY. Heating up, showing the world that, you know, he always climbs the top of the ladder, gets really close, but is this going to be the one where he breaks through and raises that belt? I mean, we have a couple more weeks before we even get close to that conversation, but RAISY making a case for himself here as we take a look at the stats from map number 3. It is in the bag. RAISY takes this set 3-0 over Spart1e. And just, I think it was the same thing, you know, good, decent start, close enough start, and just runs out of gas. Things don't go his way, maybe too much rail play, swapping to rail when he shouldn't, not hitting the shots more importantly, and it just, you know, it spirals from there, Flea.
Indeed it did. But that will finish up our first series of the day. Later on, we will be entertaining CNZ versus Dramas. That is going to be our next series. Now, before we cut to our first break, any thoughts on this next matchup?
It's always fun to see the team kill. I know that the org owners don't really like it. It's like two of their babies going at it, but I don't care. I just want to see some good Quake. So I think Dramas is going to be fantastic. CNZ is heating up. He's winning some of the side tournaments that the community runs. Always looking strong. Always has the ability to take one over, but Dramas has that flair that we kind of see with some players on the railgun. Maybe, Spart1e-esque, as I said. They kind of play the same. So we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and then we'll dive into that setup a little bit more before we get into the action. So don't go anywhere. Still a lot of Quake to be played today.